was wide open. I don't expect Georgia to lose. So once Clemson goes 0-1, it's really wide open. And then if you think about it, if Miami loses to Florida, then it's really wide open because all the favorites are 0-1.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams. Today, in segment one on this Throwdown Thursday edition, we're going to talk about Power Four teams and preview this upcoming week, talk a little bit about week 0. In segment 2, we'll do a group of 5 review and preview. And in segment 3, we'll do our OCP power rankings and discuss things strictly for entertainment purposes only. So let's jump into the Power 4. SEC. The big story for this week is Georgia versus Clemson. It's an opening opportunity to impress. With me today, Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, any thoughts on Georgia, Clemson, and the opening of the SEC teams and conferences week 1?
Oh, it'll be very interesting. I think Georgia needs to come in and establish dominance. They need to go in and say, look, we're back. We're not playing no games. We're here doing our thing. If Clemson goes out and wins, looks like they're looking good in the ACC, and they may get a bid in the playoff. But it'll be even more interesting if Georgia wins and then ACC, now both ACC powers are now 0-1. It'd be very interesting to see how it move forward, what's going on. So there's a lot of things going around that game, but I don't think the game will be as exciting as people think it will be.
What I'm thinking about is Georgia. There's 2 things. One, Georgia's a dominant football program, but man, oh man, do they have what I call a lack of institutional control. Too much noise, too much non-disciplinary actions, and then selective discipline. So I'll be watching to see how Georgia handles all of the extra scrutiny that I hope comes from the national media. I hope the national media scrutinizes Kirby Smart's team in terms of how they perform off the field. Let's talk Big Ten. USC and LSU in Las Vegas. It's an opening opportunity to impress. USC, as we talked in the preseason, over under the 7.5. But I'm curious of how they're going to react to playing an SEC team now that they're in the Big Ten. What are you thinking about the Big Ten this week?
Oh, yeah, it'll be a great early test for them to see what's going on. It could definitely make or break your season. If you believe that you're going to go in there and dominate and you don't, then you kind of have to think about, oh, man, we got a lot more things to going on in this conference than just winning LSU. But I do think, it'll be interesting. Both teams are losing their Heisman quarterbacks. So we'll see what the offense will look like, and more importantly, will USC actually have a defense this year? Because at least they had a quarterback last year. So let's see if they can bring it in. But we'll see. I expect LSU to kind of handle USC and let them welcome to the big time. So
good call on that. I didn't even make that connection, and you did. That's why people listen to the show. Lincoln Riley, as a coach, needs to impress better than he did last year. He left Oklahoma. Some people say he was a little frightened about the SEC. I'm like, Oklahoma versus California. That's kind of how I looked at it. But they have to perform better than they did last year. And I think they will, because Caleb Williams brings a lot of attention, both good and bad. And a lot of extra conversation. So maybe it's just back to football. We'll take a look. Big 12. Penn State is going to Morgantown. So this is more about West Virginia than it is Penn State. Morgantown is challenging. If you go play in Morgantown, they're going to bring it. And your high school teammate almost wanted to commit to West Virginia because he had such a wonderful visit to Morgantown, if you can remember. Penn State needs to dominate, because they want to be a national team. And James Franklin himself said they're a good program, not a great program. Any thoughts about Penn State going into WVU?
I think you hit it on the nail, Coach. I think they can't just go in and win. They got to go and dominate and get out of there quickly. There shouldn't be a 35-33, a highlight show. It should not one of the things. They should go in, beat. If they want to be taken seriously, they need to go in, beat West Virginia, no problem, no injuries, and get back on the bus, get back to Happy Valley.
Thank you for saying get back on the bus, Will. I love that. Fans, one of the things I used to talk about as a coach is you're always the game of the year on somebody's schedule. You're good. They know you're good. The crowd wants you. They're angry. They're frothing. They're excited. They've been humping and pumping and going nuts. And when you set up and walk in, and the first thing you do is dunk on somebody, it really takes the air out. Takes the air out. But if you let hope in, oh my goodness,
Yeah, don't do
Morgantown's
that.
going to shake if they're into that game, if they're close in the fourth quarter. So, okay. ACC. One, Georgia Tech's not bad, okay? But their over under was 5.5. Okay, and they're better, and they no longer have the Paul Johnson triple option system, and they got better talent and all of that. Okay, good job, Georgia Tech. But Florida State, you should have beat. You were undefeated last year, and you got screwed, like Brett did in Montreal. You did. You got DJU coming back to the ACC after he was wrong in his eyes, or at least he should have felt that way. And you laid an egg. Will, what are your thoughts about Florida State as we enter this ACC season?
Again, coach, hit it on the nail, man. I mean, you were so angry last year. They didn't get into the playoffs. Their governor was going to DeSantis, was going on. And, this was a perfect opportunity to go in, dominate, 60-3 kind of win, those kind of things, and show people like, look, we're back. We're not worried about nothing. And then they came out and they laid an egg. But I'll tell you one thing, coach, it was very funny. The first touchdown that Florida State scored, they went in this fake field goal and they went for two. And I think that pissed off Georgia Tech. I think that really made them pissed off even more that trying to be on that big stage. And they really after that, it was over. After that, it was all scrapping and trying to get it back because and again, you're hearing it all because when you were looking at the stadium was all Florida State. And they were talking about on the broadcast, they were like, I can't believe so many people came to Ireland and they travel well and all this stuff. So you're hearing all this stuff all week. You're Georgia Tech. I mean, you're probably hearing this months by now. And that fake field goal probably put them over the edge, and that's what they got there. That's why they got whooped. But it'll be coming back, man. We'll see. George says it's not a bad loss. I think it's a bad loss. So
Okay. So Nevada, the over-under for wins, 2.5. SMU was favored by 27.5. On our preview show, SMU is one of the teams I'm following all season because they've been wanting this opportunity since the Pony XS in the mid 80s. And they barely beat Nevada. So that just says to me the ACC is wide open. So headed into week one, I don't think there's any major contests. But what are you thinking about now after you saw some week zero stuff with the ACC, Will?
oh yeah, it's wide open. It's wide open. I don't expect Georgia to lose. So once Clemson goes 0-1, it's really wide open. And then if you think about it, if Miami loses to Florida, then it's really wide open because all the favorites are 0-1. So,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
And
So
let me
it's a
change that. Yes, Clemson is going against Georgia,
Georgia.
and Miami is going against Florida. And the thing with Florida is they're a middle of the road SEC team. They're not
Yeah.
even projected to be good. So if your middle of the road SEC team beats one of your conference favorites, yeah, ACC is going to get one team in,
Exactly.
and it's going to be
Yeah.
hard to come back from that. All right, to close out the segment, Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. Notre Dame is going to be the underdog, and again, a second-tier SEC team. Notre Dame's schedule sets up that if they get 9, 10 wins, there's a good chance they're going to be in the top 12. Will, any thoughts about Notre Dame as that independent going into Texas A&M?
I love Coach Freeman. Ever since he got to Notre Dame, they've gotten better. They got a little attitude now. So they have like their little flavor to them. I think Texas A&M may sleep on them. I think that's probably a good, where you want to go. But yeah, like you said, Notre Dame to go in and beat Texas A&M at Texas A&M would be. Are they playing at Texas? Are they
They are
Kyle Field?
playing at
Yep.
Texas A&M.
Okay. Yeah, that's a hard place to play. So if you go in and win, eyes will be on Notre Dame. And like you said, 10 wins, and that win at Texas A&M that's gonna look good on your resume.
All right. So in segment two, fans, we'll talk group of five. I do miss around the territories, though, but everybody's everywhere now. We'll be right back on the iCoaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Save Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit ckasaveproject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Save Project today. Welcome back to the iCoaches Podcast. In segment two, let's talk group of five. So in the American, we got FAU and Michigan State. That's kind of the game I'm watching in the American Conference. To keep our interest, we need somebody to upset somebody from the Power Four. Is there a game or two you're interested, or a team you want to watch in the American this week, Will?
Not for me. Not for me. I Back in the day, I would give Michigan State a chance, but for me, no.
Michigan
Not
State better beat FAU. They better beat them.
They have to. They have to. I mean, but again, coach, these realignments are going to change a lot of these schools. As these schools starts to go to different divisions and different conferences, it'll bring in different talent. And as we see, there are schools that cannot sustain their recruiting. They have to go, or they have to go a different way. I mean, I feel like the teams that believe in the transfer portal are more competitive than the ones that are just going in and just saying, we're just going to recruit and build in our program, and we don't do that. That's not the way it is. So if Michigan State is one of those teams that's now like, hey, we're going to hit the transfer portal, then you'll have a chance. But if you're out there believing that the freshman is going to be out here and you'll work him up to a junior, and then he'll wait his time, and then you believe that that's where you want to be, then you'll see what you get. But I agree, Coach. Michigan State better win. Because if they didn't, then well, I don't know.
And Memphis, you need to impress every single week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mountain West Pac-2. Okay. Wyoming is playing Arizona State. To keep our interest, somebody needs an upset. Wyoming just might do that. But in the Mountain West, everybody's kind of focused on Boise. Any thoughts headed into week one about the Mountain West or the Pac-2?
Nothing really. Nothing. These are teams that are just trying to jostle themselves for position to have a thing to talk about when the playoff comes. But again, I think Wyoming beating Arizona State would be a great win for them to start their season. It can maybe get people talking about a team that nobody really talks about or even knows about, every day. So we'll see what happens, what comes up, because there are some opportunities in these weaker leagues to actually get a chance to get in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. As long as teams believe like that, that's always going to be dangerous.
All right. Conference USA, Campbell versus Liberty. All year we're going to follow Liberty because Liberty has to Mike Tyson everybody all year. They have to beat everybody bad because their schedule is awful. And if they're undefeated, there's still no guarantees that they'll get into the college football playoffs. Will, what are you thinking about Liberty, man?
What's crazy is that Georgia has like a plus 200 to win their conference, but Liberty has like a minus 190. So it's kind of crazy when you think about that's how favored they are to win their conference. So, and supposed to almost $200. So to say that it's they have to dominate, they win their conference. I think they should. I think everyone on the panel, pretty much when we talked about them, think that's what's going to happen. But again, now you're getting everyone's best. So
Everyone's
we'll see.
best.
They're everyone's championship, So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I hope. But yeah, minus 190. That's not really worth it. I
You
guess that's
good?
saying you just turn off the lights when you close the door. Just turn the lights. Y'all gonna be in the party. Don't worry about it.
You're going to see a lot of liberty with the four-play money line. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Sun Belt. Georgia State is playing Georgia Tech week 1. Georgia Tech just got back from Dublin. Big win. Georgia Tech might have a hangover. And I think that's going to be the Sun Belt game of the week to watch. JMU and Texas State are pretty much the best teams there. Anything of interest for you this week in the Sun Belt?
It's hard to play up with that same energy. That's a lot of energy that they used against Florida State. It's hard to get up, especially when you have to take a trip back across the pond. So we'll see. I think it'll be a dogfight, and interstate. A lot of these guys know each other from high school and club together, and probably have girlfriends that they know each other, family at the cookout. So it's not going to be a rollover. I think they're gonna have another dogfight in them. But I do expect Georgia Tech to take the momentum and to get the win. But it's going to be a tough fight.
Okay, a little bit of action. Of course, we have to bring up our directional schools for Michigan. I'm looking at Eastern Michigan versus UMass for all the wrong reasons, and you'll find out a little more about that in segment 3, fans. UMass is my season-long bet. But early season action, not expecting too many upsets because the MAC is probably one of the 2 lowest terms of play of the group of 5. Any thoughts about the MAC going into week 1?
Not really. Not really. And have fun, fellas.
Good luck, Toledo.
Good luck, right? See you in the bowls, right?
All
See you in
right.
the bowls.
And of course, every week we're going to cover HBCUs, and FAMU did not impress. FAMU is ranked 25 in the FCS poll. They had an opportunity on national television, Will. They were on ABC to flex.
Mhm.
But as we mentioned last week, they just got a lot going on in the administrative side of the school. They fired their AD. They haven't treated their basketball coach very well. Friend of the show. Good luck to you, Pat. Their head coach, who won the national championship last year in the Celebration Bowl, left to take a position job at Duke. So that kind of says, I don't want to be a head coach, but Chip Kelly did
Yeah.
that. And you just haven't treated these people very well. We had our sports reporter on last week, Jake, who said might be some things going on with relationships. I was just very unimpressed with them. Did you even look at any of that game, and what were your thoughts?
I started watching a little bit. It was pretty good. It was interesting. It was definitely some good athletes on there. But I was actually more watching the Delaware State game that came off at about midnight. I happened to open my eyes, and Del State did cover the spread. Everyone said Hawaii gonna beat up on them. They did, but it was close for a while. It was close for a while. So shout out to the Delaware State and the alum who take it on, my man Akil, and always man Jamal Kirby, always holding it down. But yeah, I did check out Norfolk State, man. I mean, they played pretty well. I thought they were going to win, to be honest with you, but I guess talent just becomes talent, and then they actually, they won. So, but it was good. I think there'll be an interesting storyline moving forward, and the Saturday is going to be good.
And good segue to that. A lot of my family members did go to Norfolk State and graduate from. So Norfolk State's playing ECU. So I want to check that game out because proximity, not too far away from each other. And Howard playing Rutgers. this week. So those are two
My wife went to
games.
both schools. My wife went to Rutgers and went to Howard to finish up. So I'm gonna tell her about that. She's gonna be
So
interested.
we're gonna check that out and see how the Bison do. OCP gets all the Big Ten news lines and stuff, so they may have some extra trivia for that I'll bring in next week. But fans, as we close this segment in segment 3, we're going to talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only. Week 0, I wasn't very entertained. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. With over 15 personal stories and insightful antidotes, Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasaveproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. We're going to do our own CFP talk, college football playoff talk. The Odd Coaches Podcast's rankings will focus strictly on the college football playoff. So, although we'll follow some other teams, strictly for entertainment purposes only, let's get to the 12. Will, here we go. We are projecting Georgia to win the SEC, so that's 1 out of 12. All right, we got Ohio State winning the Big Ten. Clemson is now the favorite to win the ACC until next week. Utah is favored to win the Big 12. And I got Memphis as the Group of 5 representative, but we're looking at Boise State. And even some people are talking about UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio. Nobody's really talking about Liberty because that schedule's just so blasted awful, to quote Hank. Okay, so the next 7, based on the AP top 25, Oregon, Big 10. Texas, SEC, Alabama, SEC, Ole Miss, SEC, Notre Dame, Independent, Michigan, Big 10, and Penn State, Big 10. Now, they're all going to lose at some point in terms of that little group, but going in, this is where we are. On the outside looking in, I've got Missouri, SEC. Florida State is now outside looking in for the ACC. Kansas State is on the outside looking in for the Big 12. Iowa is just boring enough to mess around with you. And Boise State from the Mountain West, they're going to be good and they're going to be in the mix. So, Will, going into the season, SEC has 4. Big 10 has 4. ACC has 1. Big 12 has 1. American has 1. And Notre Dame as an independent is 1 in the 12-team playoff. What are you thinking headed into week 1 about the 12-team playoff?
Looking at some of the teams, I think Ole Miss will make it a little bit more funny. It's hard for me to believe that they're going to just run through their schedule. So I think Utah, Utah is always hyped every preseason, like the last 2 or 3 years, and then they always come through and they lose a couple games.
Their quarterback is in year 7, man.
Yeah, and the guy, and he gets hurt every year. He's like my age.
Was it Cam Rising is their quarterback, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he is. He is. So, I mean, we'll see.
He's Bo Nix type season.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Unless he steps on a hot pizza or something, slips or something bad happens to him. But yeah, I think there'll be some jostling around. Again, Penn State, if they get beat up against West Virginia, I mean that could change.
They can't lose that game. Oh,
they
sorry.
Can't.
Strictly
they shouldn't. Notre Dame, they're 10 right now, but they too take an L to Texas A&M, and if down the line they take an L to USC, who knows if they're going to end up. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of jostling. There's going to be the top 5 are going to be pretty solid, but I think after 5, there's going to be a lot of moving up around, and if any big dog loses, man, then things are going to start really. So I hope all kind of calamity and kind of craziness happens. And by December, this name looks totally different.
Totally different. Okay.
Yeah, just Georgia and everybody.
All right. Season-long bets, fans, in the SEC. Georgia over 10.5. and Missouri over 9.5. Those are the two teams that I will be watching. In the Big Ten, Maryland over 6.5 and Oregon over 10.5. I am excited about seeing what Oregon can do because they really want to be in this playoff. They really have, let's just say, invested time and money into their program. Big 12. Yes, I'm going to watch Colorado all year, but I'm not angry. I don't understand why they're banning reporters, and I just don't
You
think they're
think
going to
under
win
five?
six games. I
You
just
think
don't think they're
under
going to
five
win.
and a half?
Have you seen the schedule?
The schedule
They,
says six. I mean, they can win 6 games.
I hope they win six, okay? But I don't think they will.
Yeah,
I
man.
just don't think they're very good. But here's this thing, Will, and I'll say it every week until I'm blue in the face. Coach Fromm had one win talent, got rid of one win talent, and people had the audacity to say, why'd you get rid of these people? Are you kidding? It's one win talent.
Right.
So then he wins four. Okay, they won three straight, got all this extra hype, but we said every week, they ain't that good. Okay.
Right, we
But
did,
if
yeah.
you go from 1 to 4 in any metrics, you've done better. Now they're switching conferences. So all your tape is just not. You just can't use it.
Right.
So if he goes from 1 to 4 to 5, you're trending up. What are we mad at? Okay. So when you're criticizing Coach Prom like some of these national people are doing, I think it's more than just football because, Will, we're just talking football. And football, you've got to have too deep. And they don't look too deep at every position. That's it. Nothing more,
Yeah,
nothing less.
yeah.
So that's why I got them winning 5. But if
Mm.
they win 6, that's why it's gambling and it's strictly for entertainment purposes only. But I
That's
don't
all
think
it
they're
is.
very good. Okay. And then Utah is over 9.5. Again, their quarterback is well seasoned, a
Yes.
lot of
Mm.
experience. I'm going with the experience. In the ACC, I got North Carolina State because at some point they've got to put all of this together over 8.5. And SMU, take the win. I ain't mad at the win. Now, there's only 8 wins left. I got them over 8.5 because I'm thinking they're supposed to have a better year. And no, they did not impress coming in. Independence, Notre Dame is over 10.5. So I got Notre Dame winning 11. That's on me pushing my chips to the middle, and I've got UMass under 3.5. So got to find somebody else to watch. And the American, Memphis over 9.5, and USF over 7.5. I like the Tigers. Go Memphis, and I will be in Nashville, Tennessee in November. Don't think I can make the drive to Memphis while I'm there because it's like 3 hours, man. I don't think I
Yeah.
can make that. All
We're
right,
talking about these
Mountain.
small states, right? We got these small states.
Mountain West and Pac-2. I got Boise over 9. They should get that. I feel excited
Yeah.
about it. And New Mexico scared me, man, because look, Will, it's under 1.5. So
Man.
when the bet came out, I'm like, oh well, shucks, they're terrible. No, they was winning. It's like, oh my goodness. Conference USA, Liberty over 10.5. They better win every game. Okay. And I
Yeah.
got
Every single
FIU
one.
over 4. Sunbelt, Texas over 8.5, and UAB under 6.5 because I just didn't like what Trent Dilfer's been saying in the media since he's got his job. So go
Yep.
beat some. Since it's so easy, go win.
His
Okay.
son didn't even come play for him.
And finally, with the season-long bets, a little action. We got Toledo over 8.5. Good luck to Toledo and my directional Michigan school, Western Michigan over 6.5. All right, so this week is week 1. We get to talk about it early. So my showcase game of the week, Will, I got Miami minus 2.5 over Florida. I know that's your school. My 2 play, Penn State minus 10.5 and Northwestern minus 4.5. My 3 play, North Texas plus 5.5, Houston minus 2.5, and JMU minus 8.5. My 4 play money line just to win, Virginia Tech, Georgia, Penn State, and Boise State. My over, Clemson and Georgia over 50.5. My under, Miami of Ohio and Northwestern under 41.5. Still should have probably done something with Iowa, but that's an inside joke. And my upset game of the week, Notre Dame straight up over Texas A&M because
Ooh.
I'm pushing my chips to the middle early with the Irish. Remember, fans, every Saturday and Sunday morning, I will share my picks at Odd Coaches. Check us out. Will, anything of note you're looking at or any reaction to mine before we close out?
Oh man, I'm gonna be looking at Miami. We'll see. I'm gonna definitely take Florida plus 2.5 just to keep it close with them. I do want to look. I want to take a look at USC and LSU. I don't know what the odds are right now, but that's going to be an interesting game. We'll see if I can get some props going on. Oh, I like that North Texas plus 5.5 because Robert's been kind of talking about North Texas, so that may be a nice little steal for a ticket. But I think all the others look good. I'd just be interested in if Boise State can actually complete the foreplay. That's the thing for me. But
Always messing
everything
with
else
me.
looks solid.
And again, fans, everything we do is strictly for entertainment purposes only. During COVID, in addition to writing Find a Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success, did a lot of studying with sports betting because I enjoy it. My season-long bets, $5. And my Super 7 bets, $10. So again, I'm not crazy with it. Will does much more with the props than I do because I don't do anything with it. So again, strictly for entertainment purposes only. You can follow me at Odd Coaches on the Twitter/X and just check out our plays and enjoy yourselves. So on behalf of our Captain for Life, Will Cotton, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.